The Lisa series is a set of games that tries its best to avoid putting the main cast of characters into a character archetype. For example, Buzzo may say and do some evil stuff to Brad, but you can't call him the villain. You may not agree with his actions, but in Joyful you learn about his reasoning and why he does what he does. He's more of a victim, if you ask me. How about Buddy? In Joyful, she turns into a power-hungry maniac and starts being really obnoxious towards Rando. But can you blame her? Thanks to Brad literally murdering her one chance of having a peaceful life, she has no choice but to kill. Being the only female left in the world full of perverts, yeah, you can't let your guard down. Sorry Rando, but your goal for peace is long dead. Buddy isn't buying it. I could keep going. Every main character is like this. But in the Lisa community, the term Rando did nothing wrong pops up. At first, yeah, Rando is probably the closest thing to a good person in the world of Lisa, a hero. Dustin Armstrong, by the way that's his real name, had an awful childhood, but despite that, he's a force for good. He has a massive army that do good work. When Brad brings Buddy home, his friends tell him to give her to Rando because he will look after her. Rando refuses to put his name on the famous wall of the names of the toughest men of Olaf because he doesn't want to be a part of it. Even though in Joyful, Buddy is using and being hurtful to him, he still helps her. Even though Brad killed his army and was going to kill him, he couldn't stop him because he loved his adoptive father too much. He gives Brad the best healing items as an apology for breaking his motorbike, which I remind you Brad drove into him. When he was about to die, he begs Buddy to leave him because he doesn't want her to suffer permanent damage to her hands, because he knows he's going to die. So Rando did nothing wrong, right? He's the hero. Well, I agree to a certain extent, but I do believe he did do something wrong. He was too kind. He could have easily stopped Brad, but his sympathy to his adoptive father led him to lose. He couldn't best him. He was crying during the fight. If he had more backbone, he could have restrained Buddy and made sure she didn't go down the path of wanting power. He could have easily taken down the other gangs, cut them up, make sure they don't get too big. The irony is that he is nothing like the cast of characters in the Lisa series, but maybe he needed to inherit some of their cruelty for the greater good. Even Lisa Armstrong, the child victim who committed suicide, did some cruel things in order to try to escape the abuse she received. Rando was just a big softie in a painful world. Maybe he did do nothing wrong. Maybe the world of Lisa didn't deserve him. Maybe it was just too heartless for him.